Part 26. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 253. Three figures. Sitting cross-legged, as if practicing meditation. However, Yang Hao narrowed his eyes. With his current level of cultivation, he could clearly see that in this world of flames, thousands of avenues were passing through, intersecting three figures, just like chains. Not fallen. After seeing this scene, Yang Hao realized that this secret place was most likely like a prison. The three figures exuding a vast aura did not seem to have fallen, but seemed to be imprisoned here, never to see the light for eternity. But this idea just came up and was immediately dismissed by Yang Hao. His eyes fell on the three figures pierced by the chains of the endless avenue. No matter which one of these three figures, there was no aura. The heavenly fire emperor's spiritual sea has turned into the eight directions fire god realm, and the other two alien emperors have lost their breath, but their immortal golden bodies have not yet decayed. Yang Hao looked at the three figures and shook his head. The three figures were very easy to distinguish. Emperor Tianhuo was majestic and tall, with a serious face and his eyes closed. To the left and right of him, a figure was completely dark, like a shadow. With his head there is a golden horn on it that attracts attention. Another figure, this is the head of a dragon, obviously thinking that the ancient dragon emperor. Master, the vitality of the emperor is extremely tenacious. Although the two alien emperors fell, they always have the opportunity to be resurrected. Emperor Sci-fi sacrificed his own life to completely imprison the bodies of these two foreign emperors here. At this time, Xiao Qing'er's voice came, and she explained to Yang Hao the scene in front of her. Her words made Yang Hao squint his eyes. The emperor's vitality was beyond his imagination, and the spiritual sea had been shattered, but he was still able to resurrection was really a surprise to him. I see. He thought about it carefully for a moment, and then remembered everything he saw in the Hades palace, and he completely understood it. No wonder Emperor Chang'e wanted to separate the emperor's corpses and put them in various restricted areas. The emperor is too powerful, even if he falls, he cannot be completely wiped out. As long as time passes, it will be able to resurrect itself. Of course, if you encounter an accident and die naturally, the chance of resurrection will be very high. But if there is a bloody battle between the great emperors like in ancient times, neither side will give the other a chance. Yang Hao looked at the three figures in front of him. In a trance, he seemed to see scenes one after another. The majestic figure of the heavenly fire emperor was like a god descending to earth, bringing the corpses of the two alien emperors here, and the sea of spiritual energy turned into the Bite Fire God domain. Even at the cost of his own life, he suppressed the corpses of these two alien emperors forever. Back then, the Skyfire Emperor was immortal. But he chose to use himself as a prison to imprison the corpses of these two alien emperors here, never to see the light of day forever. Hundreds of thousands of years have passed from ancient times to the present. No matter how tenacious the emperor's vitality is, these three emperors have completely fallen and cannot be resurrected. At this time, combined with Xiao Qing'er's words, Yang Hao understood it completely. He looked at Emperor Tianhuo with a hint of respect. Although in his opinion, Emperor Tianhuo's behavior was stupid, and he only exchanged his own life for two aliens. The emperor's corpse was suppressed forever, but if it weren't for the pioneers of the human race like the Skyfire Emperor who came forward one after another, the human race in ancient times would not have been able to expel and suppress all the alien races and become the true master of the Zhiwei star. Pity. Yang Hao regretfully said to himself, the method of evolving the world was accidentally created by a sage in the Dark Ages. It was not until we went through the entire Dark Ages that we perfected the laws of the world. The killing array evolves the world and can refine the emperor's corpse as nourishment. It is also speculated that no one has had the opportunity to do this since the Dark Ages. Yang Hao sighed. These were all written in the notes Zhang Wu gave him. If the method of evolving the world could have been born in ancient times earlier, human pioneers like the Skyfire Emperor would no longer need to die. Master, if you want to get the inheritance, you need to pass the test of the Emperor at this time, Xiao Qing's somewhat troubled voice came. Although I have passed, the final part of the inheritance of Saint cannot be obtained. Although she knew that Yang Hao came here for the corpse of the three great emperors, Xiao Qing'er hoped that Yang Hao could successfully obtain the inheritance of the emperor. She began to tell Yang Hao how to obtain the inheritance of the corpse of the three great emperors. According to Xiao Qing'er, when the Skyfire Emperor imprisoned the two alien emperors and died, they were naturally not dead yet, so it is not surprising that they left behind inheritances. As for the inheritance of the two alien emperors, it was the Skyfire Emperor who forcibly extracted the inheritance from the corpses with his great supernatural power, and created it for them, for the benefit of future generations. But because it is an inheritance extracted from the alien emperors, it naturally carries a strong mark of the emperor. The so-called test naturally requires the backlash of the marks of the two alien emperors to pass. This is the inheritance test of Emperor Tianhuo. As for the test of these two foreign emperors, the Skyfire Emperor must have deliberately arranged it. The backlash of the emperor's mark should be based on the strength of the entrance. The backlash my master received from the mark back then was much more terrifying than mine, and he almost died. Master, you are a quasi-sage, and the backlash you should receive from the great emperor's mark should be much stronger than mine. Xiao Qing'er carefully explained her past experience to Yang Hao. Let me try. Yang Hao looked at the three figures in front of him and didn't really care about the emperor's inheritance. His real goal was to get the three emperors' corpses. But now that he heard Xiao Qing'er describing the test process to him, he also planned to try first of all. Yang Hao chose the inheritance of two alien emperors. After all, it was just a mark of the emperor. Even Xiao Qing'er could bear it at the beginning, so he could naturally bear it. He stepped forward and followed Xiao Qing'er's instructions with the guidance. He came to the dragon-headed emperor among them. According to Xiao Qing'er, once he gets close, the emperor's mark will be triggered. Yang Hao stepped forward, and as expected, as soon as he stepped in, a series of terrifying pressures appeared. Coming like a tidal wave. The great emperor's mark bites back. It's okay, but too weak. Yang Hao felt the terrifying pressure that made his body tremble. He roughly estimated that this was a pressure that only a sage could withstand. The quasi-emperor did not pose any threat to him, so naturally this pressure from a sage had no effect. After all, the test of the alien emperor was not left by himself, but by the remaining power left after the Skyfire Emperor forcibly seized it. After withstanding the pressure of the dragon-headed emperor, auras belonging to the alien suddenly fell down. Next, he merged into Yang Hao's body. Not only that, but thoughts also appeared in his mind. Those are the inheritance of this dragon-headed emperor. It's interesting. No wonder Xiao Qing'er was able to mobilize those alien races in the eternal forbidden zone. Was it because he had integrated these auras? What's even more interesting is that this inheritance is different from what Xiao Qing'er said. It seems that what can be obtained must be divided among people. Yang Hao felt that he had benefited and nodded slightly. Although it was somewhat different from what Xiao Qing'er said, it made him even more satisfied. Another alien emperor's inheritance is very strange. Attack my soul. After Yang Hao passed the test of the first alien emperor, he did not immediately absorb the inheritance. Instead, he walked towards the other Golden Horn Emperor, whose whole body was dark and like a shadow. The test of this Golden Horn Emperor, it was attacking his soul. Yes. Soul. Yang Hao has never been attacked by a soul. It is the deepest secret of a practitioner. He stepped forward without hesitation. Then, he felt like being struck by lightning. Horrible, the killing blow directly passed through his divine body and attacked his soul. Yang Hao's face darkened slightly. He encountered the soul attack for the first time. Although he was well prepared, he still felt that his hair and beard were bulging, and his whole body was endless. All the pores are tight. Do you use laws and avenues to defend? Law of destiny. The avenue of reincarnation. Yang Hao followed Xiao Qing'er's instructions and began to use the laws and avenues. But at this time, something surprising happened. Deep in Yang Hao's soul, a mysterious light flashed past, blocking all the killing attacks of this foreign emperor before the laws and avenues offered by Yang Hao. Picture of the immortal king's creation. Sensing the mysterious light deep in the soul and resisting the attack by the soul, Yang Hao was extremely shocked. He never thought that he actually had a treasure that could defend against the attack by the soul. The immortal king's creation map. This he obtained from the nine-colored heavenly gate in the past. The foundation of the Holy Land has brought him a lot of help. Unexpectedly, it can still resist soul attacks. This divine object is too extraordinary. The immortal king's creation map is really too mysterious. Even Yang Hao couldn't help but sigh. After resisting the soul attack, Yang Hao's whole body was once again drenched by the rich alien aura. Mysterious thoughts surged into Yang Hao's mind. There is no doubt that this is the inheritance of this foreign emperor. This inheritance surprised me. That's how it turned out to be. Just like the previous inheritance of the alien emperor, this inheritance of the alien emperor also surprised Yang Hao. After digesting it, he looked at the Sky-Fire Emperor. This is the last inheritance and what the real emperor left behind. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 254. According to Xiao Qing'er, the test of Emperor Skyfire is protection. Gradually walking into the body of Emperor Tianhuo, Yang Hao recalled Xiao Qing'er's explanation. This emperor who used his own life to suppress two alien emperors, even if he leaves a legacy, it is a test of the successor's character, regardless of cultivation. With great ability comes greater responsibility. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with me. Yang Hao laughed when he thought about Xiao Qing'er telling him how to pass the level. In fact, before passing the test of Emperor Skyfire, Yang Hao was already prepared to fail. Even if Xiao Qing'er had told him in advance the method to pass the customs, but for him, the understanding of thoughts is more important than the inheritance of a great emperor. The higher the cultivation level, the more Yang Hao understands how important it is to maintain his original intention. Therefore, he did not intend to follow Xiao Qing'er's instructions from the beginning, tell him the way to pass the test of Emperor Skyfire. Has it started yet? At this time, Yang Hao had already approached the corpse of Emperor Tianhuo. Around the body of Emperor Tianhuo, a series of extremely illusory auras swept away. In the blink of an eye, the world in front of Yang Hao's eyes changed. Xiao Qing'er not far away, various flames in all directions, and the chains of the avenue disappeared without a trace. What appeared before his eyes was the city burning with fire and the heaven and earth shaking. Directly in front of him, a pale woman appeared. Zhang Wu. The most important woman in his life was appearing in front of him, extremely weak at this moment. On the other side, there are 10 ordinary practitioners. They were also extremely weak and unable to move at all. In the distance, a dragon-headed alien Gigi smiles strangely. Save her, or them, the dragon-headed alien race. The laughter infiltrates people. This is a multiple-choice question. Save Zhang Wu, or the strange practitioners who have nothing to do with him. No. Do not kill me. No. Please save us, save us. We are all innocent. Zhang Wu on the other side, although she didn't speak, her eyes flickered, and she looked at the practitioners next to her from time to time, as if signaling to Yang Hao to save them. Yang Hao shook his head. This multiple-choice question is exactly the same as Xiao Qing'er said. However, it is too false. The Zhang Wu in his memory will not be so weak, nor will she be such a holy mother. Of course I chose her. Yang Hao said calmly without thinking. It's over. We are all dead. You are the devil, you are the executioner. Don't save me. It's all because of you that we will die. A series of shrill roars came. In an instant, blood rain poured down, and the alien figure slaughtered all the 10 unfamiliar practitioners with a strange smile. Only Zhongwu survived. Yang Hao looked at these practitioners who were crying and dying without blinking an eyelid. Next moment. The scene is unreal. A new scene appeared. There is actually not much difference from before. It was just more noisy and the crying was getting louder. Yang Hao glanced at it. On the left and right, there were still practitioners Zhongwu and he had never met before. The number of these practitioners has increased from 10 to thousands. How to choose? At this time, the strange laughter of the alien race came again. Choose her. Yang Hao felt a little bored. There was no difficulty in this test. He allowed those practitioners to be selfish, but still chose to save Zhongwu. In the next moment, thousands of people in front of him died because of his one thought. Bloodily massacred by aliens. Next, there will be 100,000 people. According to Xiao whether there are 10 people or 1,000 people, they all choose the people who are important to them. This is human nature and understandable. But after reaching 100,000 people, they have to choose the justice of the people before they can pass the test of the Sky-Fire Emperor. Yang Hao sneered and said bullshit. Don't say what about 100,000 people, 1 million people, or hundreds of millions of people. What does it have to do with him? Zhongwu alone is worth all the practitioners in the entire Zhiwei star. Why choose? Even though he knows that this test is illusory and has no trace of reality. But Yang Hao will not go against his own heart and grovel for the test. This is not his character. Save her, or them. Save her, or them. As expected, the scenes continued to change one after another. Each time, it was Zhongwu and a practitioner she had never met before. The only change was that there were more and more practitioners on the right, the cries of misery were getting louder and louder, and the condemnation against him became more and more serious. If it were anyone else, they would be entangled, hesitant, and even make choices that go against their own conscience in the face of justice. But Yang Hao's state of mind was so tenacious that even if Mount Tai collapsed in front of the mountain, his character would not change. Not to mention these people who have nothing to do with him. No matter how much he insulted, how loud he cried, or how miserable the practitioners in front of him behaved, Yang Hao still chose Zhongwu without blinking an eyelid. Finally, the scene changes, and the number of people on the other side is endless, like the whole world. Among them, Yang Hao met the disciples of the Holy Land of Eternal Life and the practitioners of other holy lands. A big star and a person. Save her, or them. The strange laughter of the foreign race came again. However, this time Yang Hao still sneered and said lightly. You talk too much nonsense. Hearing Yang Hao's words, the alien's face changed slightly. Yang Hao had already told him the answer. All the scenes in the scene in front of him disappeared, and finally a burly and majestic figure appeared. Yang Hao looked at this figure, a little surprised. This figure was none other than the Sky-Fire Emperor. He naturally recognized it. He had only seen the Sky-Fire Emperor's body just now. Little brother, you are so cruel. The Heavenly Fire Emperor looked deeply at Yang Hao and said slowly. How cruel is that? It has nothing to do with me, so I don't need to pay attention to it. Yang Hao was not too surprised when he saw the image of Emperor Tianhuo, but smiled and said. Why? Being able to see this emperor means that you have passed my test. Originally, if you had any hesitation during the selection process, I would think you were selfish and too small-minded. But you never hesitated from start to finish, proving that your Taoist heart is as solid as a rock. Maybe, I'm wrong. Stick to your path, there are many choices in this world, There is never any right or wrong, it is just a matter of whether you will regret it or not. The Skyfire Emperor looked at Yang Hao and said slowly. Kindness. This is not the first time that Yang Hao has seen a similar incarnation of the Emperor. Naturally, he is not timid at all. Hearing the words of Emperor Tianhuo, he just nodded indifferently. He was still a little surprised. He thought the test would fail, but he did not expect this Emperor Tianhuo. He is more open-minded than he thought, so naturally he would approve of his actions. Compared with the little girl before, you are very special. Although you have passed my test, you are not suitable to inherit my mantle. But this thing can be given to you. If you have a chance, go to the Holy Land of the Netherworld. Holding this object should allow you to gain something. Emperor Tianhuo said suddenly. As soon as he finished speaking, he threw a shadow to Yang Hao. Yang Hao was stunned. After taking the shadow, he felt that it looked familiar. Mingzi waist badge. He looked at the shadow thrown by Emperor Skyfire and murmured to himself. Yang Hao never expected to get the Mingzi waist card again here. When he heard what Emperor Skyfire said, his eyes suddenly moved. The great emperor was born in the Holy Land of the Netherworld. He asked the Skyfire Emperor. Kindness. The Heavenly Fire Emperor smiled. I don't know how many years have passed, how is the Holy Land of the Netherworld now? The incarnation of the Heavenly Fire Emperor asked casually. Destroyed. Yang Hao didn't hide anything and said directly to the incarnation of Emperor Tianhuo. Emperor Tianhuo was born in the Holy Land of the Netherworld, which was unexpected and reasonable. Hearing Yang Hao's words, the incarnation of Emperor Tianhuo heard the words and his face was stunned. Silence. After a moment, he then said, it's destroyed, that's a pity. But it's normal. With senior sister's temperament, it's not surprising that both jade and stone will be destroyed. I'm really sorry, but the Hades order may not have any effect. I have been dead for many years and have nothing to gain. Although the Holy Land of the Netherworld has been destroyed, there should still be relics left. If you have the opportunity, you can go to the Holy Land of the Netherworld for a walk. You may get some benefits with the Hades order, but it can also be regarded as your reward after passing the test and meeting me. Hearing the words of the incarnation of the Heavenly Fire Emperor, Yang Hao smiled. He did not hide it, but asked seriously, it doesn't matter. I'm here for another purpose. I wonder if you can lend me the Emperor's body. Yang Hao was very upright and did not hide too much. Instead, he said directly to Emperor Tianhuo. Although he did not agree with Emperor Tianhuo's ideas, he respected people like Emperor Tianhuo. If the other party did not agree, he would not use Skyfire. The body of the great Emperor _Fei. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 255. Borrow my body. The Skyfire Emperor was also stunned when he heard this. He had no idea that Yang Hao would say this. If it were any bad-tempered emperor, he might be furious on the spot. But fortunately, the incarnation of the Skyfire Emperor inherited the extremely gentle character of his original body. Instead, he smiled and said to Yang Hao, I'm afraid not. My corpse is needed to suppress the 2 alien emperors. If you borrow it, the corpses of the 2 alien emperors may be resurrected. After hearing the words of Emperor Tianhuo, Yang Hao was relieved. Obviously, this good-tempered emperor did not really care about his own body, but was more concerned about suppressing the 2 alien emperors. No problem. Hundreds of thousands of years have passed now, and these 2 alien emperors have been dead for a long time. Moreover, now that the human-killing array can evolve the world, I will first refine the corpses of the 2 alien emperors, and then refine your corpse, the emperor. Yang Hao explained the current era to Emperor Tianhuo, and naturally also told him the method of killing formation to evolve the world. Oh, I see. The vitality of the alien emperors is extremely tenacious. Although it has been so long, he must definitely die, but the talents of the aliens are too terrifying, and they have many tricks. I am not sure. If you want to refine them into nutrients for your evolving world, you can give it a try. If it can be refined, then it can be refined with my own. The Heavenly Fire Emperor said to Yang Hao with a smile. Doesn't the Emperor mind? Yang Hao suddenly said. Death is like floating, what do you mind? If you can kill these two alien emperors forever, they are just corpses, just use them, it's no big deal. The Heavenly Fire Emperor said calmly. The Emperor is free and easy. Yang Hao sighed in admiration when he heard this. He couldn't understand the realm of this Emperor. If he died and someone wanted to refine his body, he would definitely smash it into ashes. But Emperor Tianhuo not only did not get angry, but encouraged Yang Hao. This make him a little dumbfounded. What about your incarnation? Yang Hao suddenly thought and asked about Emperor Tianhuo. He has never quite understood the origin of the Emperor's incarnation. It seems that the life and death of the Emperors in the Eternal Holy Land are unknown, but the incarnations still exist in the Eternal Holy Land. But if they fall, the incarnation will, how can it continue to exist? If those two people completely perished, I would naturally disappear as well. When Emperor Tianhuo heard this, he said to Yang Hao. Will it dissipate? Great Emperor, what is the incarnation? Are you still you? Yang Hao asked suddenly. He never concealed his confusion. Incarnation? You can understand it as obsession, right? After enlightenment, the great road leads to the gods, and obsessions arise naturally. If you are willing, you can naturally give birth to an incarnation. Of course, if you don't want to, there will naturally be no incarnation. Of course I am still me, but I don't have any cultivation, nor any combat power. In addition to being able to control this world of flames, I am not even as good as a ghost. Emperor Tianhuo answered everything and said to Yang Hao. I see Yang Hao seemed to understand, but he probably understood it. The incarnation of the Emperor is somewhat similar to the clone, but it is different from the clone. This obsession of the Skyfire Emperor is to suppress the two alien emperors forever. Go ahead, the Skyfire Emperor said to Yang Hao with a smile. When Yang Hao heard this, he immediately bowed to the Emperor solemnly. He knew very well. If he completely devoured the two alien giants, I am afraid that the Skyfire Emperor would completely dissipate. But the other party, not only did he not stop him, but he even looked forward to it. This is obsession. Yang Hao did not expect that his desire to refine the Emperor's body would somehow match the obsession of the Skyfire Emperor. At the moment when he was thinking, the picture in front of him disappeared instantly. The figures of the three emperors appeared again before his eyes. Then, let's start refining it. Let's start with the dragon-headed emperor. After Yang Hao received the inheritance of the three great emperors, he was not polite and walked directly to the dragon-head emperor again. Looking at the dragon-head emperor in front of him, who was shuttled by thousands of avenue chains, Yang Hao smiled, and he directly took out the evolving prehistoric killing formation. At this moment, his prehistoric killing formation changed greatly. It seemed to be a new world. The sky was clear and the earth was turbid, and it was exceptionally clear. In the killing formation, the spiritual treasures were scattered in all directions, each living in one place. The spiritual energy also continuously flowed into the killing array from Yang Hao's sea of spiritual energy, forming an extremely rich ocean of spiritual energy. Vaguely, the dragon-shaped creature projected by the candle dragon ball could be seen, has solidified and has begun to move clouds and rain between the sky and the earth. The entire killing array has gradually taken on the atmosphere of a small world. Refining. Seeing this scene, Yang Hao did not hesitate to cover the great desolate killing formation towards the completely imprisoned dragon-headed emperor. The inheritance of this ancient dragon emperor is very miraculous, and I was extremely surprised. I hope that after he is refined, he can also bring surprises to me. Yang Hao said with emotion while refining the dragon-head emperor. He recalled the inheritance of the dragon-head emperor just now. It was an inheritance that made him feel extremely terrifying, and it was also considered to be his biggest gain so far during this trip. Yang Hao looked at the prehistoric killing array that had enveloped the dragon-headed emperor into the killing array. The second array of eye-candle dragon beads were flashing with divine light crazily. After these divine lights bloomed, those divine lights began to eat away bit by bit the dragon-headed emperor in front of him. The divine light evolved from the great formation at this time is extremely mysterious and can directly swallow the emperor's corpse. The body of the dragon-headed emperor is as vast as the sea, and it contains almost endless essence. Divine bones, divine blood, are filled with an aura of extreme terror. Not to mention the divine palaces and avenues in the body. Although it has been silent for countless years due to the fall of the emperor, it is the supreme supplement to the killing array. Prehistoric killing the formation had just begun to devour the emperor's corpse, and the aura of the killing formation began to rise crazily. Is this the power of the world that has not yet taken shape? Only the power of the world can swallow the corpse of the extremely powerful emperor so easily. Once the prehistoric killing array began to devour the emperor's corpse, the speed of the leaping world began to slow down, allowing me to clearly predict. In this case, you can use the law of time to bless it. Yang Hao sensed that the ancient killing array was devouring the body of the dragon-headed emperor. After sensing it, he immediately decided to use the law of time to save time and accelerate the devouring of the body of the emperor. The law of time. As soon as Yang Hao cast it, the huge and mysterious law of time completely enveloped him and the prehistoric killing array, including the body of the fallen dragon-headed emperor. Accelerate 1,000 times and last for 3 days. It seems that even the corpse of the fallen emperor can naturally resist the invasion of the law of time. Not only that, although the emperor's body was devoured by the great desolate killing formation, the power left behind was too powerful. If it cannot be completely refined, even if there is only a little bit of it, it is not considered completely refined. If it is not completely refined, not only will the emperor's corpse bite back on itself, but it will also collapse my killing array. Therefore, it is necessary to completely refine the emperor's corpse in one go. After Yang Hao sensed that the law of time was acting on the prehistoric killing array and the emperor's body, the acceleration duration of the law of time was obviously limited, but Yang Hao was not surprised. Maintaining 1,000 times acceleration for 3 days, for now for him, it is also a very terrifying consumption. After 3 days, and after waiting for more than 10 days, he should be able to use time acceleration again. With this cycle repeating, it should soon be possible to kill the 2 great emperor corpses. Refining all. While Yang Hao was refining the emperor's body. At this moment, a foreign race exuding a majestic aura quietly entered the Beifang Vulcan domain. Is this the Beifang fire god realm? Snort. After so many years, His Majesty the ancient emperor is still suppressed by this damn Sky-fire emperor. But now that the emperor is here, His Majesty the ancient emperor should also return. As long as the emperor's corpse is still there, it should take at most 100 years to resurrect His Majesty the ancient emperor. This foreign race exuding a majestic aura has a conspicuous silver horn on its head. At this moment, he stepped into the Beifang fire god realm. He was obviously well prepared and had a clear goal. Found it? After entering the inner domain of Beifang fire god, he searched for several months. This silver-horned figure suddenly lit up in front of his eyes, and he sensed the aura he was looking for. It turns out that there is actually a small world hidden in these divine fires. His Majesty the ancient emperor, here I come. His heart moved. The next moment, he used an extremely exquisite space method to directly tear apart the space of a divine fire. The space continued to reverse, and the figure of the silver horn alien easily broke into the helpless space. Then, a flame channel appeared in front of this silver-horned alien race. Haha, I finally found it. Sensing the familiar aura coming from inside, the silver-horn alien knew that he had found the target he wanted to find, and immediately stepped into it without hesitation. Underscore. Please download the novel without underlining. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 256. Refining is complete. On this day, Yang Hao's eyes suddenly lit up. The Dragon-Head Emperor, under his crazy refining day and night, was finally completely swallowed up by his ancient killing formation. After swallowing the Dragon-Head Emperor, Yang Hao was able to clearly sense that the prehistoric killing formation has undergone earth-shaking changes again. The most obvious change is that the prehistoric killing formation finally gave birth to real creatures. The dragons that were swimming around were constantly moving in the prehistoric killing formation. Compared with the previous ones, the condensed spiritual treasures do not think that these real creatures are an important symbol of the killing array's leap to the small world. The power is at least 10 times higher than before. This is still not a complete transformation. Once transformed, the power of the ancient killing formation can be increased by at least dozens, or even hundreds of times. The killing formation turned into a small world and completely transformed into the power of the world, which was naturally extraordinary. When Yang Hao used the prehistoric killing formation against some powerful saints, he had already discovered the difference. The power of the killing formation and the power of the world power is also a completely different level of power. It is a pity that the sage who accidentally discovered the method of evolving the world did not achieve enlightenment. Yang Hao sighed. That sage made unimaginable contributions to the practitioners of Zhiwei Star, but in the end he fell on the path to enlightenment in the Dark Age. It is really sad. Next. Let's continue to refine this great emperor. Yang Hao looked at the other golden-horned alien emperor on the other side. In fact, he has now begun to completely evolve the small world, but he forcibly suppressed the prehistoric killing array. However, he could not suppress it for too long. According to Yang Hao's estimation, after completely refining the corpses of the 3 great emperors, his prehistoric killing formation will directly transform no matter how much he suppresses it. There is no way, his killing formation has reached its extreme. This is also Yang Hao's prehistoric killing formation. If it were replaced by anyone else, the killing array of a powerful saint, not to mention the corpses of 3 great emperors, even the corpse of one great emperor would completely explode his killing array in an instant. In this way, Yang Hao continued to refine the golden horn, the corpse of the alien emperor. About 10 days later. Trouble is coming, little one. Yang Hao suddenly raised his brows, and a voice came from his ears. The incarnation of the Sky-Fire Emperor. The owner of this voice was instantly recognized by Yang Hao. Because of this, Yang Hao's face darkened. A great emperor, even if he is the incarnation without any power, is still the emperor. If the other party says trouble to me, then trouble must be coming. Great emperor, what's going on? Yang Hao was concentrating on refining the body of the second Golden Horn Emperor at the moment. In addition, there were too many avenues crossing the world of flames, so he did not sense any abnormalities. There are aliens invading this place. With the Quasi-Emperor's cultivation level, I'm afraid you are no match. Emperor Tianhuo reminded that in his eyes Yang Hao is just an ordinary Quasi-Sage, and there is no way he can be the opponent of the Quasi-Emperor. Hide now. I'll try to delay it for you for a little while. The voice of Emperor Tianhuo came again, and he was also a little troubled. Yang Hao had not deceived him before. According to his observations, Yang Hao had indeed completely refined the Dragon-Head Emperor. He originally thought that Yang Hao could refine the remaining alien emperor. Their bodies were completely refined, allowing the two alien emperors to disappear from this world forever. But who could have thought that at such a moment, there would be alien quasi-emperors arriving? Alien quasi-emperor. It seems that there is indeed some trouble. Yang Hao didn't expect that the Beifang fire god realm, which had been silent for endless years, would become so lively with his arrival. Now even the alien quasi-emperors have appeared. It should be that the quasi-emperors in those dangerous places have revived. I don't know if he is the quasi-emperor in the eternal forbidden zone. Yang Hao was thinking. He was refining the emperor's corpse at the moment and it was impossible to leave. His suppression of the great desolate killing formation was very weak. As long as it was different, the prehistoric killing formation would directly evolve into a small world. If I had known it, I would have borrowed the Emperor Mountain. Yang Hao felt more and more the importance of carrying an ultimate defense weapon with him. If the Emperor Mountain fell here, a foreign quasi-emperor would appear, and the opponent would not kill the ultimate emperor. It is impossible for the Jidao Emperor's soldiers to break through his defense in a short time. But now, it is extremely troublesome. He mobilized the great desolate killing formation to refine the emperor's body, and had no time to distract himself. Although Xiao Qing'er is the protagonist of Destiny, she has not yet become the protagonist. Holy, it is impossible to stop the alien quasi-emperor who breaks in. For the present plan, we can only resist first. Speed up the refining and swallow it forcefully. He had already begun to refine the body of the golden-horned alien emperor. He opened his bow without turning back and could no longer stop. Yang Hao could only suddenly evolve the law of time and go all out. Suddenly, the ancient killing array began to vibrate crazily. Time accelerated. He began to quickly devour the body of the golden-horned emperor in front of him. But at the same time, Yang Hao could clearly feel that the great desolate killing formation was shaking crazily due to the forceful acceleration of the devouring, and there was a faint signs of collapse. Yang Hao faced this. There is no way to deal with the situation. Once the other party arrives, his only choice is to give up devouring and refining the emperor's corpse in front of him and evolve into a small world. Damn it! If you don't come early, you won't come late. Yang Hao's heart was filled with murderous intent at this moment. The arrival of this foreign quasi-emperor was very unlucky, which put him in a dilemma. While harboring murderous intent, he was refining frantically. And at the entrance to the flame world, Silverhorn quasi-emperor had already stepped into it. Haha, these can't stop me. The entrance leads to the end of the flame world. A series of terrifying killing traps have been opened by the incarnation of the Skyfire Emperor. But obviously, the silver-horned quasi-emperor is very powerful. He strode directly towards the passage of the flame world. Go. Boom. Boom. A series of terrifying strange noises came. The Silverhorn quasi-emperor encountered a very terrible killing in the world of fire. Even if he is a quasi-emperor, he is still in a miserable state. But what is regrettable is that these killings did not stop the Silverhorn quasi-emperor. Although he was trapped in the world of fire for several days, he completely shattered all the traps and tests in the world of fire one by one. The aura of His Majesty the Ancient Emperor is getting closer and closer. However, His Majesty's aura is a bit strange. After so many years, I can understand. The Silverhorn quasi-emperor ignores all the confusion that arises in the world of flames. He is not here for the inheritance in the world of flames. Even if he sees the treasures, he will not look at them. His goal is very clear, which is to rescue those trapped in the world of flames. Emperor's body. It should be right here. Yinjiao quasi-emperor's eyes flickered with some expectation. When the emperor of his own tribe finally died here, few people knew about it. And he was one of the people who knew about it. As he personally recovered from the murderous place, the immediate then came here. The Silverhorn quasi-emperor broke through the last obstacle, and the flames like water curtains were completely torn apart by him. He finally came to the core of the flame world. Naturally, he also saw the scene of Yang Hao refining the emperor's corpse. Damn it! Who are you? It's time to refine my emperor's corpse and seek death. Quasi-Emperor Yin Jiao came here with full expectations, but he never expected to see this scene. He was just stunned for a moment, and the next moment he became furious. Especially when he felt that Yang Hao was only in the quasi-sage realm, he was even more furious. A terrifying killing blow passed through the void and came towards Yang Hao. Soul Blast. Yang Hao's figure flashed, and he was still continuing to refine the emperor's corpse. Under the full force of the incarnation of the Sky-Fire Emperor, he finally forcibly refined the Golden Horn Emperor's corpse. But the sequelae were also obvious. The originally vibrant Great Desolate Killing the formation contains endless terrifying power at this moment, and there is no time to digest it, and there is a risk of breaking and collapsing at any time. Soul Killing. At this moment, Yang Hao was refining the Emperor's corpse while his mind moved. The Yin Jiao Quasi-Emperor who had just stepped in directly attacked and killed him without hesitation. What he didn't expect was that the opponent actually used an extremely rare soul killing. Fortunately, he inherited the inheritance of the Golden Horn Emperor. At the same time, the Immortal King's creation diagram also rose from Yang Hao's soul. Although this blow was extremely terrifying, it could easily kill a saint. Although he was beheaded, he was still unscathed and could continue to refine the corpse of the Golden Horned Emperor. Great Wilderness Sword. Wei Tower. Yang Hao had a thought. The two great imperial weapons and all kinds of divine weapons appeared instantly. Suddenly, endless divine light filled the place. In addition to the two extremely powerful imperial weapons, there are nearly 1,000 divine weapons that shine dazzlingly. Not dead. So many magic weapons. The Quasi-Emperor Yin Jiao was stunned when he saw this scene. In his opinion, if a mere quasi-sage dared to touch the emperor, he could kill him with one blow. But he never thought that not only did the blow fail, but the other party also released endless treasures are blocking him. Among them, there are even two Jidao imperial weapons. He is, emperor. How could it appear here? This time I made a lot of money. Now that Yang Hao is at the height of his power, even the newly revived Quasi-Emperor Yin Jiao instantly recognized Yang Hao's identity. His eyes suddenly glowed with golden light, and an endless look of greed surged out. I took away the villain's son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 257. The Yin Jiao Quasi-Emperor never expected that he would meet Yang Hao here. Yang Hao's name is so loud now. Enter the invincible road into the galaxy and invite the world to fight? Not to mention the entire Ziwei star, even all the stars in the sky know Yang Hao's name. Even though he had just recovered, he still knew about Yang Hao and even watched the battle with his own eyes. Damn it, does he want to refine the corpse of my ancient emperor to evolve the world? But at this time, Yin Jiao Quasi-Emperor suddenly reacted. After recovering, he naturally understood the current era and also knew that practitioners have been able to evolve the killing array into a small world. Yang Hao is quasi-sage, and now it's time to evolve the small world. I can't leave you alone. Yin Jiao Quasi-Emperor spoke, and in an instant, rays of divine light sputtered out crazily, and continued to bloom towards Yang Hao's divine weapon that was blooming with endless divine light. The strength of the Silver Horn Quasi-Emperor was very terrifying, and this benefited from because of his gifted race. It can almost be said that even when thousands of races are emerging, his race is still rampant in the world and extremely powerful. As these divine lights bloomed, Yang Hao's divine weapons began to slowly shaking as if about to be shot down. Little destiny magic. At this moment, Yang Hao's eyes were like daggers, and he looked over. Although most of his energy was focused on refining the corpse of the great emperor at the moment, he could still cleanse the laws of destiny and evolve the small destiny skills. With his current strength, the power of the little destiny technique is naturally different from what it used to be. As the strange and incomparable fluctuations around him spread, the divine light of the silver horn quasi-emperor was also eliminated by Yang Hao. Damn it! The law of destiny. Seeing this scene, Yinjiao quasi-emperor immediately reacted. What he had just cleansed was his racial talent, not the laws or avenues, which were specially used to defeat the divine weapons. But he did not expect that Yang Hao would actually use the law of destiny to kill him. The divine light was completely eliminated. As the Battle of Daozing shocked the world, it was no longer a secret that Yang Hao controlled the law of destiny. But no one was surprised. With Yang Hao's current power, if he did not control some heaven-defying skills, that's weird. Soul Avenue. The Avenue of Shock. Space Avenue. When the quasi-emperor Yinjiao saw that his innate divine light was knocked down by Yang Hao, he immediately used the avenue he controlled to attack Yang Hao. As a quasi-emperor, the avenue controlled by quasi-emperor Yinjiao naturally cannot. It's just 3 paths. But his combat experience is extremely rich. Although the 9 avenues are displayed at the same time, the real power of the competition is the control of the competition. The avenue of soul directly attacks Yang Hao. The avenue of shock shoots down Yang Hao's divine weapon. Space Avenue is to forcibly stop Yang Hao's extreme emperor soldier. Although Space Avenue certainly cannot stop the extreme emperor soldier, it can delay the offensive of Yang Hao's 2 extreme emperor soldiers to a certain extent. Not good. Yang Hao's face darkened at this moment. The opponent's combat experience made him extremely uncomfortable. Almost at the moment when the 3 avenues appeared at the same time, the divine weapons he sacrificed were all shocked and deterred. As for the extremely powerful imperial soldiers, they were also temporarily captured by the Space Avenue. Live. This alien quasi-emperor actually controls the avenue of space. This is the first existence that Yang Hao has encountered that controls the avenue of supreme law. It is precisely because of the opponent's supreme avenue that his 2 extremely powerful imperial weapons were captured instantly. Although it only took less than a minute. Both the Great Desolate Sword and the Wei Tower can break through the seal in an instant. But what the other party wants is less than a minute. Great Soul Technique. The Silverhorn quasi-emperor's eyes flashed with a strange light, and his eyes were dark and vicious. His soul avenue evolved into an extremely insidious and terrifying divine needle, which directly penetrated into the depths of Yang Hao's soul. Taoism. Yang Hao's face turned ugly again. A stream of blood overflowed from his body, and even if the immortal material was used to repair it frantically, it would not help. He could clearly feel that his divine body was failing. Although the immortal king's creation map was protecting his soul, but what the opponent cast was Taoist magic. He also knows this great soul magic. It was inherited from the Golden Horn Emperor before. But he does not control the soul avenue, and he will never be able to master it like Yin Zhan's. Big trouble is coming. He is really in a life and death crisis. Hateful. Do we really want to give up refining this great emperor's corpse? In the eyes of the Yinjiao quasi-emperor, Yang Hao's face turned gloomy to the extreme, and he murmured to himself. He has encountered countless powerful enemies since his cultivation, but no one has ever made him as uncomfortable as the Yinjiao quasi-emperor. Give up. If you fight with this emperor and want to refine with peace of mind, you will definitely die. Yinjiao quasi-emperor Gigi smiled strangely. He could not let Yang Hao refine the emperor's corpse. When Yang Hao heard this, his already ugly face turned dark. The opponent's strength was not only powerful, but the avenue he controlled was also extremely weird. Whether it was the avenue of shock or the avenue of shock, space avenue, soul avenue, anyone who controls one is already extremely powerful. But the other party controls 3. Is this the alien quasi-emperor? Yang Hao gritted his teeth and continued to control the prehistoric killing array to devour the emperor's corpse. Snort. Are you still going to fight stubbornly? Madness. When the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao saw that Yang Hao's soul had been severely injured by him and was completely suppressed but still persisted in refining the emperor's corpse, his face showed a sneer. He also did not expect that Yang Hao would be so stubborn. Next, he wanted to personally kill Yang Hao, the supreme genius, and rob him of his luck, as the first earth-shattering event when the alien race returned. Thinking that Yang Hao, the main star of the avenue, would fall under his hands, the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao was extremely excited. He was so excited that even the corpse of Emperor Jinjiao did not want to be rescued first. For the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao, rescuing the corpse of the emperor was not as satisfying as suppressing a supreme genius like Yang Hao. Since it's so unwise, I'll send you on your way. Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao grinned with a weird smile. His killing offensive became more and more powerful. One avenue after another was suppressed by him, wiping out Yang Hao again and again. If it weren't for Yang Hao's the Ji-Dao Emperor's soldiers are constantly protecting the Lord, and inside there is the immortal king's creation map that is frantically purging the divine light, and resisting the killing of all souls. Yang Hao has already fallen on the spot under the terrifying killing of the Silver Horn Quasi-Emperor. However, even so, the aura on Yang Hao's body is getting weaker and weaker. Little one, stop it now. Escape first and save your life before you can talk about the future. Your performance has been very terrible. At this time, the voice of the incarnation of the heavenly fire emperor sounded in Yang Hao's ears. There is no doubt that this incarnation of the emperor did not expect Yang Hao to be able to sustain for such a long time under the attack of a quasi-emperor. But this is not the time for a battle of spirits. If you don't give up, the incarnation of the Sky Fire Emperor can tell that Yang Hao will definitely die today. Fine. A cold light flashed in Yang Hao's eyes. There is only the last step left to refine the body of the golden horned emperor. He still has confidence. Well. Seeing that Yang Hao was still indifferent, the incarnation of the heavenly fire emperor shook his head and sighed regretfully. He knew that Yang Hao was too paranoid and would probably be killed. I never thought that I was determined to suppress these two people forever, but I never thought that I would still fall short. Emperor Skyfire's eyes were dim. He naturally saw the origin of Emperor Silverhorn. Although so many years have passed, logically speaking, these two people are already dead. Even if the other party comes, they should be unable to save them. Resurrection. But, who can say for sure about these things? There are too many miraculous things in this world. Even if he is the great emperor, he cannot predict all of this. According to the calculations of the Skyfire Emperor, even if the Golden Horn Emperor cannot be resurrected, with this race's heaven-defying power, his body can also create the silver-horned Quasi-Emperor to quickly break through the realm. Maybe he can use the body of the Golden-Horned Emperor to give birth to a great emperor in this race. No matter what the result is, the Skyfire Emperor everybody feels extremely lost. Fortunately, my human race is now stronger. Fortunately, this little guy had already devoured and refined the corpse of a great emperor before. The incarnation of the heavenly fire emperor saw Yang Hao's aura getting weaker and weaker in front of him, and knew that the situation was over. Sure enough. So what if we support it? Your stupidity cost you your life. It seems that your name as the supreme genius and the main star of the avenue is just in vain. At this time, the sound of Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor Gigi's strange laughter came. Immediately afterwards, a terrifying divine light directly shattered Yang Hao's physical body. The endless bright sea of spiritual energy appeared. The emergence of the spiritual sea means that Yang Hao there is no way to resist. What a terrifying background. It's a pity to give it to you. Give it all to me. When Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao saw this scene, his eyes were extremely greedy. He never thought that a person's sea of spiritual energy could be so miraculous. Unfortunately, it all belongs to him now. He will take it all in step by step. Loot everything and transplant it into his body. Enlightenment is expected. No need to resurrect the Golden Horn Emperor again. From now on, I will be the new emperor. Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor's greedy eyes did not stop at all. He began to take action, using his great method, preparing to strip away everything in Yang Hao's sea of spiritual energy. He. Yang Hao's dejected face suddenly sneered. The next moment, he exploded with a bang. That's right. He blew himself up. At the time of the self-destruction, Yang Hao's ancient killing array finally completely devoured the corpse of the Golden Horned Emperor. What's happening here? The Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor was wiped out by the terrifying self-destruction. The entire flame world will collapse. Yang Hao's extremely terrifying background, once it self-destructs, how terrifying. The Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor was instantly seriously injured. However, the next moment, shocking a scene happened. Yang Hao's self-destruct figure appeared again in this world of flames. What exactly is going on? The Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao, who was severely injured, was completely shocked. Please download the novel without underlining. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 258. You are fine. This is the first time someone has pushed me to this point. Yang Hao's eyes were like daggers. He looked at the silver horn Quasi-Emperor and walked out slowly. In his eyes, endless divine glory burst out. This was the first time that he was forced into a desperate situation, or he was forced to self-destruct. Of course. Self-destruction was originally part of Yang Hao's plan. So, Yang Hao chose to self-destruct. Then, he came back again. I see. You have inherited the great rebirth technique from Emperor Long Yu. At this time, the heavenly fire emperor in the world of flames suddenly woke up, and he looked at Yang Hao in confusion. What Yang Hao didn't know was that what he could get from the corpses of the two great emperors completely depended on each person's destiny. He fell that year. Before, it was just to draw out the inheritance of the two great emperors. What Yang Hao could obtain, the incarnation of the Sky Fire Emperor naturally had no idea before. However, when Yang Hao returned from the self-destruction, the incarnation of the Sky Fire Emperor woke up. From this Golden Horn Emperor, I got the Great Soul Technique. And from the Dragon-Headed Emperor, what I got was the Great Rebirth Technique. Yang Hao looked at the Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor, who was seriously injured by his self-destruction at this moment, and a trace of sarcasm flashed in his eyes. Stupid. Who is more stupid? It is obvious now. He has the state of mind of King Fudo. How could he be in the battle of life and death? In a time of terror, was he trapped in greed and unable to extricate himself? If someone who knew him as well as Zhongwu was here, they would naturally know that Yang Hao must be holding back his bad intentions and had trump cards and back UPS. But whether it was the incarnation of the Heavenly Fire Emperor or the Silver-Horned Quasi-Emperor, don't know much about Yang Hao. Yes, when you practice to the highest realm, there are many ways to save your life, and strong people will definitely be wary of each other. But the so-called highest realm does not include Quasi-Sage. Yang Hao's background is too shallow. Even though he has the combat power of Quasi-Emperor, he is definitely not as good as many Quasi-Emperors in other aspects. This is the accumulation brought about by time. Because of this, Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor subconsciously neglected and did not expect that Yang Hao could be reborn. Return. It was precisely because of this oversight that Yang Hao easily completed the comeback. This great rebirth technique is truly amazing. According to the inheritance of the dragon-headed emperor, I need to control the avenue of life, the avenue of death, and the avenue of reincarnation, 3 special avenues, in order to be able to perform such heaven-defying magic as the Great Rebirth Technique. But I didn't expect that the combination of the Law of Destiny and the avenue of reincarnation would still be able to use the Great Rebirth Technique. Moreover, the effect of using the Great Rebirth technique is not much worse than the Great Rebirth technique evolved from three special avenues. Yang Hao looked at the shocked Silverhorn Quasi-Emperor with a sneer. Of course, the use of the Great Rebirth technique also comes at a cost. 1,000 years of life. And 100 years of cooling time. Once used, it will take a full 100 years to use it again. Time. However, these 100 years are not fixed. If Yang Hao can break through a great realm, then the cool-down time of the Great Rebirth technique will be completely cleared. How practical is the Great Rebirth technique for Yang Hao, who has upgraded like a rocket? Naturally, it is self-evident. Next, it's my turn. Just now, you seemed very happy to kill me. Yang Hao's smile became more and more serious. Although he had refined the corpse of the second great emperor and successfully reborn, he even used self-destruction to seriously injure the Silverhorn Quasi-Emperor. But his anger never subsided. In his life, this is the first time for me to be so cowardly. Not good. Great Rebirth. How can he master the rebirth technique? Impossible. At this time, the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao changed his face when he saw Yang Hao returning. This Yinjiao emperor, who was born in the ancient times, was also well informed. When he saw Yang Hao self-destructing and returning, the great avenue was washed away in the void. Breath, he has already judged the reason for resurrecting from self-destruction. Because of this, the Silverhorn Quasi-Emperor became extremely frightened. Just now, he had already escaped from Quan Yang Hao, and finally forced Yang Hao into a desperate situation. That was still because Yang Hao was refining the emperor's corpse. There was no reason to use all his strength. In terms of strength, the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao was confident that he could surpass Yang Hao. However, the other party had Jidao Emperor soldiers. But he did not. Not only that, now he has been seriously injured. The situation has been completely reversed. This time, he is at a disadvantage. The body of the Golden Horn Emperor has been devoured by his killing array. The plan for this trip has failed. I must leave, otherwise I will most likely be killed by him. Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao is very aware of the terror of the Great Desolate Sword, the ultimate killing weapon of the Jidao Emperor. His body began to move away from the world of flames. Great Emperor, can you close the world of fire? When Yang Hao saw this scene, he suddenly said to the incarnation of the Sky-Fire Emperor. Although the incarnation itself did not have any strength, it was able to control this world of flames. After hearing Yang Hao's words, the voice of the Sky-Fire Emperor's long laughter came naturally is aloud. When the words fell, the world of flames trembled. The entire world of flames was closed by the incarnation of the Heavenly Fire Emperor. Although Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao controls the Space Avenue, he can definitely break it if he wants to, but it will take time. But, what we lack most now is time. Come back. Yang Hao's eyes glowed with blue light. The Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor, who had disappeared without a trace, appeared in front of Yang Hao again. The reincarnation method. If he was not seriously injured, the Yinjiao Quasi-Emperor would naturally be able to resist with his strength, but now there is no way. Oh no. Now we're in big trouble. The wind and water were turning, and the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao knew that he would be in big trouble next. Yang Hao was able to close the space of this flame world. This was a standard situation of closing the door and beating the dog. Let me go, otherwise even if the Emperor of Japan fights to fall, he will fall with you. The Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao said to Yang Hao in an extremely ferocious manner at this moment. He was threatening Yang Hao, and at this moment, the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao actually had a majestic aura on his body. Oh, want to blow yourself up? Bring it on. I watched. When Yang Hao saw this scene, he naturally knew that the Quasi-Emperor Yinjiao was going to threaten to self-destruct like he had just done. But Yang Hao sneered. If he really wanted to self-destruct, he would have self-destruct a long time ago. Why should he do this? He was sure that the other party was just to intimidate him. How could a quasi-emperor who had just been asleep for countless years and finally revived, with endless ambitions in his chest, willingly die? Ah! Ah! He directly activated the great desolate sword, slashing out terrifying slashes one after another, killing the Silverhorn quasi-emperor with screams again and again. He was bleeding like crazy. The opponent still didn't self-destruct. "Don't worry, I won't kill you." At this time, Yang Hao saw that Yin Jiao quasi-emperor still didn't self-destruct, but he sneered and spoke again. "Won't you kill me? What do you want me to do? I would pay with my life if I could pay the price." Sure enough, when he heard Yang Hao's words, the Yin Jiao quasi-emperor's eyes moved and he said instantly, "No need to bother. As long as you enter my tower." Yang Hao said with a chuckle. He never likes to talk nonsense in battle, but now he talks so much nonsense to the Silverhorn quasi-emperor. There is naturally a reason. What's the meaning? As soon as quasi-emperor Yin Jiao reacted, he saw Wei Tower suddenly shooting out rays of divine light, sucking him in. "Ah!" The pitiful voice of the Yin Jiao quasi-emperor came. Unfortunately, he had been directly suppressed by Yang Hao into the Wei Tower. From the beginning, when Yang Hao self-destruct and severely injured the Yin Jiao quasi-emperor, Yang Hao had already sat waiting for Yin Jiao quasi-emperor to enter. However, although the opponent was severely injured, he still had the strength to fight. Therefore, Yang Hao deliberately made it look as if he wanted to kill him. He even used the aura of the great desolate sword to intimidate Yin Jiao quasi-emperor. Emperor asked him to focus all his attention on the great wilderness sword. In fact, Wei Tower was Yang Hao's original plan. A hero emerges from a boy. I didn't expect that instead of being reckless, you are actually very calculating and careful every step of the way. At this time, the voice of Emperor Tianhuo came. He had been watching. From the moment when quasi-emperor Yin Jiao entered the world of flames, to the other party's suppression of Yang Hao, and then to Yang Hao's self-destruction to fight back, he saw everything. Because in this way, Emperor Tianhuo sighed. From the very beginning, the Silverhorn quasi-emperor fell into Yang Hao's plan. This was something he had never thought of. The most terrifying thing is that Yang Hao was only a quasi-saint. Who is this quasi-sage? The incarnation of the heavenly fire emperor was full of curiosity about Yang Hao's origins. "Haha, thank you very much for the compliment, Emperor. But I haven't figured out everything, otherwise I wouldn't be so embarrassed this time." Yang Hao shook his head when he heard the praise of Emperor Tianhuo. If he could have expected that quasi-emperor Silverhorn would break in when he was refining the emperor's corpse, he would definitely not be in such a hurry to refine it. Moreover, although he was taking steps step by step, plotting against the quasi-emperor Yin Jiao until death. But similarly, his current prehistoric killing array has left hidden dangers due to the rapid refining of the emperor's corpse. His family knows his own affairs, so he can only be regarded as a miserable victory in this battle. Great Emperor, now that both great emperors have been completely refined by me, what the great emperor said before is still true. Yang Hao sensed the almost riotous killing array at the moment, but suddenly said to the Skyfire Emperor, "Natural arithmetic. This method of evolving the world is really amazing. It's a pity that I have fallen, otherwise I would definitely have to evolve and try it." The Heavenly Fire Emperor said with great regret. "Thank you, Emperor. It's just that my killing array is extremely unstable now. I may need to take your body back to the Holy Land of Eternal Life first, and then refine it after the killing array is stable. Is that okay?" Although Yang Hao could do it directly, Yang Hao still chose to respect Emperor Tianhuo and asked him _Fei. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 259. The incarnation of the heavenly fire emperor disappeared from the world. Ever since Yang Hao completely refined the corpses of the two alien emperors, the Skyfire Emperor's obsession has actually gone away. Even if Yang Hao doesn't do anything, the incarnation of Emperor Skyfire will soon dissipate. And when Yang Hao proposed to take the body of Emperor Skyfire back to the Holy Land of Eternal Life for refining, Emperor Skyfire not only did not refuse, but helped him to lift all the restrictions in the world of fire, and finally allowed Yang Hao to successfully obtain his body. The Beifang Divine Fire Realm, which has been burning for hundreds of thousands of years, is finally going to be extinguished. Emperor Tianhuo, I don't know if he can survive his second life. Yang Hao walked out of the divine fire in the Beifang Divine Fire domain. He saw that this continuous land of divine fire that had been burning for countless years was about to be extinguished. He couldn't help but sigh. After bidding farewell to the incarnation of the Skyfire Emperor, this changes occurred in the God of Fire domain. Yang Hao could sense that the endless wildfires in the Beifang God Fire domain were slowly extinguishing. He had heard legends that after the fall of some amazing and brilliant emperors, they had the opportunity to live a second life. However, no one mentioned how to survive, except for finding the elixir of immortality. Yang Hao didn't know whether the Heavenly Fire Emperor was amazingly talented. But such a man who went through fire and water for the sake of the human race was not rigid. Yang Hao didn't hate the Emperor. Not to mention, he also got the body of Emperor Tianhuo. The law of fire has formed a source. So fast. At this time, Yang Hao noticed the law of fire in his sea of spiritual energy. From the time when he first entered the Beifang Divine Fire domain, it was crystallized. In less than a year now, his understanding of the law of fire has advanced by leaps and bounds. With the help of the dual arms of the supreme and invincible Taoist heart and system, it has directly transformed from crystallization to the divine will, then to the divine gate, and then to the source of today. You have already understood the source of the law. Is it still far away from evolving the avenue of fire? Thinking of this, Yang Hao smiled. This trip to the Beifang Fire God realm can be regarded as a quite surprising trip. He got 3 emperor corpses, and also encountered the emperor's list of attacks, alien quasi-emperors, and even he died once. Even when he was in the eternal forbidden zone, he had never encountered such a crisis. The stronger you are, the more terrifying the crises you encounter. Yang Hao thought of the words of the quasi-emperors in the Holy Land of Eternal Life. He initially disagreed, but now he fully agreed. When Yang Hao left, he didn't know that the endless divine fire in the deepest part of the Beifang Divine Fire domain was slowly gathering. Eventually it condenses into a blazing white divine fire. This blazing white divine fire is hidden in the endless depths, as if it is gestating the breath of life. After Yang Hao left the Beifang Divine Fire domain, he directly released the flying boat at extremely fast speed and returned to the Holy Land of Eternal Life. Met the Holy Lord. Holy Lord, be well. As soon as he returned to the Holy Land of Eternal Life, Yang Hao rushed towards Fenglingdu without stopping. Even when many disciples and elders of the Holy Land of Eternal Life greeted him respectfully along the way, he was not in the mood to respond. Rumble. The Emperor's tomb suddenly opened. Yang Hao's figure disappeared into it. Oh! Fellow Taoist, you are here. I haven't thought of that matter yet. I haven't seen you for a while. Your cultivation has improved greatly. Huh. As soon as Yang Hao entered the tomb of the great emperor, the soul of the eternal emperor appeared in front of Yang Hao. He looked at Yang Hao, but he frowned slightly. Great emperor, we are in some trouble. Hearing Yang Hao's words, the Yuan of the eternal emperor did not smile as usual, but said as seriously as Yang Hao, it is indeed a big trouble. The words of the immortal emperor's soul made Yang Hao's heart skip a beat. He narrowed his eyes and said, how troublesome it is. Very troublesome. At worst, the killing array is broken, and the cultivation level plummets. At worst, there is a risk of falling. The soul of the eternal emperor said slowly. Kindness. When Yang Hao heard this, he was not surprised. In fact, after he completely devoured the corpse of the golden horned emperor, he had already sensed. What happened? The soul of the eternal emperor asked. Yang Hao naturally did not hide anything and told the story of what happened in the Beifang divine fire domain. Is he actually the quasi-emperor of a foreign race? This should be the Taixu clan, one of the top 10 terrifying races among the ancient clans. They are extremely good at the art of soul and space. Your ability to fight back has exceeded expectations. Now you need to stabilize your killing formation first. After listening to Yang Hao's story, the Eternal Emperor sighed and immediately said, "How to stabilize?" Yang Hao naturally knows his situation at this moment. Now that Zhongwu is in seclusion and he has returned to the Holy Land of Eternal Life, he naturally immediately looks for the soul of the Eternal Emperor in order to find a way to temporarily stabilize the prehistoric killing array. No need to rush. My Holy Land of Eternal Life has infinite resources, but there is something that can temporarily stabilize your injury. The soul of the Eternal Emperor comforted Yang Hao again this time. It's not all bad for you. If you can repair your prehistoric killing formation, then your prehistoric killing formation will qualitatively change again, and may even evolve directly towards the big world. Looking at Yang Hao's prehistoric killing formation that was about to collapse, the soul of the Eternal Emperor said something shocking. A blessing in disguise. What can stabilize the current prehistoric killing array? When Yang Hao heard the explanation of the Yongsheng Emperor, he immediately asked. Go to the 9-colored heavenly gate. There is something inside that looks like this. The soul of the Eternal Emperor said to Yang Hao. As he spoke, he resisted the spiritual power and transformed Yang Hao into the divine object that he needed to go to the 9-color Tianmen to find. The 9-color heavenly gate is hidden in the void and needs to be stirred up to open. How do I open it? Yang Hao nodded to remember, but asked the Eternal Emperor. He. You are the Holy Lord now, so you can naturally open it, the soul of the Eternal Emperor said without hesitation. Yet, Yang Hao was a little surprised. He didn't expect that the Holy Lord would be able to open the 9-color heavenly gate. Yes, but the Holy Lord can only take one piece from it. This is the privilege of the Holy Lord. But you are the Holy Lord of Destiny, so you are naturally different. Your authority is 10 pieces. The words of the Yongsheng Emperor made Yang Hao feel relieved. The Holy Lord ceremony has not yet been held, and he is also busy with practice. Coupled with Zhongwu's retreat, for a while, he was still a little unclear about the privileges of the Holy Lord of the Eternal Holy Land. However, at the moment, Yang Hao is focused on the great desolate killing formation and has no time to pay too much attention to it. Something that can stabilize the world is extremely magical and extremely rare. After so many years of consumption, there is only one thing left in the Holy Land that can help you stabilize the world. This jade slip records some divine objects that this emperor knows about to stabilize the world. You can let the disciples and elders of the Holy Land search for them. At this time, the soul of the Yongsheng Emperor shot another divine light at Yang Hao and said slowly. After Yang Hao thanked the soul of the Yongsheng Emperor, he immediately disappeared from the emperor's tomb and went to the front of the Emperor Mountain. Using the method taught by the Yongsheng Emperor, shooting out rays of divine light in front of the sea of clouds on Emperor Mountain. Sure enough, the familiar 9-color divine light washed away again. The 9-color Tianmen that Yang Hao once had a premonition of being able to enter again, now he has indeed entered again. Is this what it is? Earned 1.653 million points for collecting Ruomua. Yang Hao entered the 9-color Tianmen, and the system income record did not refresh the screen again. However, when he picked up the divine object mentioned by the Yongsheng Emperor, Yang Hao saw this flash across the system income record. The name of a fetish. Ruomua. Half cut like a tree, is it useful? Although Yang Hao felt a little confused, he still believed in the Eternal Emperor. So he did not hesitate to put this half of Ruomu into the Honghuan killing formation that almost went berserk. As expected, the Honghuan killing formation was placed in half of Ruomu. In an instant, he began to calm down. He sensed the aura of creatures that were constantly blooming crazily in the great desolate killing formation, and after half of the Ruomu fell into the prehistoric killing formation, it began to take root and sprout, forming a sky-reaching tree like an ancient tree in the world. At this time, Yang Hao breathed a long sigh of relief. Temporarily solved. Although he still has the aura of violence and cannot evolve anymore, he can now use the prehistoric killing formation normally. According to what the Eternal Emperor said, the next step is to find a divine object like Ruomu that can stabilize the world. Yang Hao was thinking as he left the nine-colored heavenly gate. Among the nine-colored heavenly gate, since the Eternal Emperor has not mentioned it, there is no other divine object that stabilizes the world except this Ruomu. And he is now the heavenly saint. Lord, if you want to take something from the nine-colored heavenly gate, you are not in a hurry. Therefore, Yang Hao did not stay too long in the nine-colored heavenly gate. Kindness. Lu Yan, what's going on? Just when Yang Hao returned to Yaoguang Immortal Peak, he was preoccupied and planned to check the jade slip given to him by the Eternal Emperor, and then follow the pictures to search for the divine object that could stabilize the world. Suddenly Lu Yan appeared. Master, there is news from Yahua Saint. Lu Yan whispered. Yang Hao's eyes flashed. The Yahua Saint is naturally gentle. Her news. Lin Feng. Yang Hao murmured to himself, sinking his thoughts into the jade slip that Lu Yan respectfully handed over, and then his eyes suddenly lit up. When I really wanted to doze off, I brought a pillow. Lin Feng, you are really my gift boy. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 260. Yang Hao had naturally received the news that Lin Feng was not dead and had returned to the Holy Land of Creation from the Yahua Sage. It's just that he was walking on the path of invincibility a few days ago, and then he was busy evolving the ancient killing array into a small world, but he had no time to pay attention to Lin Feng. Now that he has received the message from the Yahua Saint, he has a thorough understanding of Lin Feng's recent actions. Interestingly, Lin Feng's cultivation has progressed very quickly and he has become a saint. From what Wenwan meant, it seemed that Lin Feng was just a clone. He didn't know anything about what happened in Wandao Pavilion. He only knew that I killed him. No wonder you don't escape into the ancient starry sky, but still want to evolve the world. It's a pity that all your opportunities will become my wedding dress. Yang Hao has learned from the news from Yahua Saint that Lin Feng has become a saint now and is looking for opportunities to evolve the world. The other party's cultivation speed can be said to be extremely terrifying. But in Yang Hao's eyes, it is already an ant can be crushed to death at any time. Lin Feng is also worthy of the title of the treasure boy. According to Wenwan's news, Lin Feng has really found a shocking opportunity that can help him evolve the world. The whale of all things, a creature that exists in legend, is born with the power of the world. Every time it falls, it will activate the power of the world and create vitality for all things. Yang Hao's eyes flashed. He never expected that Lin Feng could discover such a legendary creature. All whales are among the rarest and almost invisible legends in the Jade Slip records given to him by the soul of the Eternal Emperor. Creatures. Even the great emperor has rarely seen whales of all creatures. This legendary creature is the best choice to stabilize the world. As long as it is included in the killing array, it will diligently stabilize the world and continuously create a steady stream of vitality. It can be said that once this legendary creature appears, it will cause a bloody storm, and countless quasi-emperors and even great emperors will come out to capture it. This is why all species of whales are extremely rare. Lin Feng, you can even discover such legendary creatures, it really makes me sit up and take notice. The light in Yang Hao's eyes flickered. He never thought that Lin Feng could find the whale of all things. Even when he looked at the jade slips of the Eternal Emperor before, he never considered looking for the whale of all things. As long as this whale of all things enters my world, it will defeat countless divine objects. With the whale of all things, I can successfully refine the body of the Sky-Fire Emperor and successfully evolve the small world. Yang Hao's eyes were shining, knowing how important the appearance of this whale of all things was to him. To put it mildly, except for her and Lin Feng, no one else has discovered the whale of all things, so I need to hurry up. Yang Hao secretly decided to go directly to the South China Sea. Wenwan and Lin Feng are now in the South China Sea. Naturally, the whale is also there. Master, Master. I want to play too. It's been a long time since you took your daughter to play. Just when Yang Hao was about to leave, the little girl riding the phoenix Suqing suddenly appeared and said to Yang Hao with a smile. Yang Hao laughed and said, next time, the owner of this trip has urgent matters to deal with. After he took the little girl out of the true realm divine array, he allowed her to practice and play in the holy land of eternal life. He never restrained the little girl. However, he did not expect that the little girl would take the initiative to ask to go to the South China Sea with him at this moment. Under normal circumstances, Yang Hao wouldn't care. But this time, it was related to his killing array, so after thinking about it, Yang Hao chose to reject the little girl. Oh! Master, you can go on your own, little girl won't bother the master anymore. The little girl pouted after hearing this, a little dissatisfied, but she said to Yang Hao in a very sensible way. Well, I'll take you to play next time. Yang Hao touched the little girl's head lovingly, and after explaining something to Lu Yan, he went directly towards the void of the sky. After seeing Yang Hao disappear, Xiaoluo's expression instantly dissipated, and she cheered up and immediately said to Suqing, said little Ching Ching, catch up with the master. What? When Suqing heard this, he was a little unclear about what he meant. Let's follow our master, the little girl said with a smile. But the master said that he will take you to play with the little master next time, Suqing immediately responded. Yes, yes, although the owner said that he would wait for his daughter to play next time, he didn't say that we couldn't play by ourselves. Walk quickly, you won't be able to catch up with the master in the evening. The little girl urged Suqing repeatedly. Yes. Suqing was a little helpless. But she was transformed by Yang Hao, and she had been ordered by Yang Hao to listen to her little girl. Although she felt it was inappropriate, what she said did make sense. Yang Hao never forbade her. Leaving the holy land of eternal life to play, they have often gone out to play in recent years. Go, go, go. Seeing Suqing agree, the little girl said to her happily. In an instant, Suqing spread her wings and disappeared into the sky with her little girl. The little girl actually followed her master, but she had to inform her master. Lu Yan was helpless when he saw this scene. Both Suqing and Xiaonan were in the holy realm, and even she couldn't catch up. After thinking about it, Lu Yan shot out a divine light and headed towards the void. Lu Yan naturally, the speed of the divine light communication cannot be compared to the speed of Yang Hao and Suqing's flight. Therefore, Yang Hao did not know that the little girl was following. Skybreaking Talisman. In order to seize the time, he flew out of the holy land of eternal life and came to an area with stable space. He directly used a divine object that could forcibly break the space. As this divine object flew out, a large number of energy came from the void. The law of space. A space passage was broken open by this space talisman. Yang Hao instantly drove the flying boat and flew into it. He shuttled from the eastern region to the South China Sea in an instant. This was the method used by the ancient dragon sage in exchange for the 5 elements Dao sect for Yang Hao. Although the skybreaking talisman is extremely precious, it is just a drop in the bucket for the wealthy Yang Hao, so he can naturally afford it. But this method of directly traveling through space can only be tolerated by those who have reached the realm of a saint, so Yang Hao used to. Although Hao has such a magical artifact, he has never used it. The last time he went to the Beifang fire god territory, it was not too far away, so he naturally did not use it. This time he went to the South China Sea, and there was an unknown distance between him and the Eastern Territory. Yang of course Hao used the sky-breaking talisman without hesitation. Hi! The master actually broke through the space and left. The little girl, who was a little late, saw that the space passage was closed, and waved her fist in anger. Little master, what should I do now? There is definitely no way to catch up with the master. Suqing was a little helpless when she saw this scene. It was better now. The master broke through the space and left. No matter how fast she flew, she couldn't catch up with Yang Hao. It's okay, it's up to me. But I heard the little girl blinking her big watery eyes in confusion. After looking at the space channel that had gradually closed, she clenched her little fists. Open. The child's voice was crisp. The next moment, a scene that shocked Suqing appeared. As the little girl's words fell, Suqing saw the mysterious law fluctuations beginning to wash away in the void. Space laws. Wrong. This is the Space Avenue. Suqing was shocked in her heart. The little girl controls the Space Avenue. She has been driving the little girl around for many years, and this is the first time she has seen the little girl use it. Xiao Qing, don't be in a daze. Go quickly. It's so laborious to open this channel. When the little girl saw that Suqing below her was indifferent, she immediately urged. Good. Suqing immediately came back to his senses, spread his wings and flew, chasing into the space passage again. Came to the South China Sea again. At this time, Yang Hao's flying boat had already flown out of the space channel. Feeling the rich law of water in the aura of the South China Sea, Yang Hao sighed. The last time he came to the South China Sea, he was walking on an invincible road and had no time to care too much. Now, he came to the South China Sea again, but he sensed the unique atmosphere of the South China Sea. Most of the South China Sea in the Zhiwei Star is surrounded by sea water. The South China Sea is not so much a region as it is a sea area. Yang Hao looked at it. The seas in all directions are heading in the direction Wenwan told them. Among the four major domains of Zhiwei Star, the weakest and most inconspicuous is the South China Sea. Only the Holy Land of Tiantong and the Holy Land of Taishu are rooted here. The memory of the South China Sea flashed in Yang Hao's mind. Neither Tiantong Holy Land nor Taishu Holy Land is considered a powerful Holy Land, which shows that the South China Sea is weak compared to other regions. Although the power in the South China Sea is the weakest, the number of dangerous places is no less than that of other large regions, and there are even more. Among the 10 most dangerous places, the Forbidden Sea, Void Island, and the Gate of Life and Death are all in the South China Sea. Lin and Wenwan are the whales of all things found near Void Island. Yang Hao sped up and hurried on at an extremely fast speed. Just when he was about to reach the destination, Wenwan told him, his pupils shrank and he sensed the strong power of the world coming from the void. So lucky. Did you meet the whale of all things like this? His gaze was fixed, and in his eyes, an extremely majestic and gigantic figure appeared, quickly shuttled among the clouds in front of him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I took away the villain's son. Author, the great Onmyoji. Chapter 261. In the distance, there are clouds. A huge thing shuttled through it. How big is it? For thousands of miles, his body is hidden in the clouds. That's a whale. An incredibly large whale. Just like this, it appeared directly in Yang Hao's eyes. Earned 1.86 billion points for discovering all whales. The system income record flashed, allowing Yang Hao to confirm his guess. Such rich vitality and luck. Yang Hao's eyes shone when he saw this huge whale. This whale was really magical. In his eyes, it kept traveling through the clouds and was extremely conspicuous. But Yang Hao knew very well that this whale, when the whale of all things falls in the eyes of other practitioners, they can't see anything at all. Only those whose luck exceeds it can see this whale of all things. The breath of the whale of all things is very special. It seems that there are endless avenues flowing, but it is more of the power of the world and the power of destiny. It's very strange. It clearly feels very powerful, but there is no dangerous aura. This legendary creature seems to be able to be directly refined and should be directly included in my ancient killing array. Yang Hao's eyes were like a god, staring at the whale. The wind was blowing under his feet, and he chased the wound whale instantly. Although it seemed to be right in front of him, it was actually because the wound whale was too huge. According to Yang Hao's, it seems that he is at least millions of miles away from this whale of all kinds. High speed. We must seize the opportunity, suppress and refine it, and add it to the prehistoric killing array. Yang Hao is galloping, but this whale is also swimming in the clouds. The South China Sea is so big that in just a short time, the whale has already swam very far. Yang Hao knows that if he doesn't catch it, if he seizes the opportunity, there is no chance that this whale of all things will just slip away. Needless to say, he was able to meet the whale of all things today. Needless to say, he also knew that it was because he was affected by the great luck, so he was so lucky. Certainly. His speed is extremely fast, and it is very easy to catch up with the whale. When approaching the wagon whale, Yang Hao directly hit the Jingshen sect. Yes. This time when he walked out of the holy land of eternal life, he did not bring the great wilderness sword, but I chose Jingshen sect. After all, the purpose of coming here is to capture the whales of all things, not to kill them. Compared with the ultimate killing great desolate sword, Jingshen sect, as a punishment for the ultimate emperor, can collect the power of Jingshen section extremely powerful, even much stronger than the Wei Tower. With Yang Hao's current cultivation level, when facing some saints, he can even directly use Jingshen sect to collect them and enter, which is enough to show the tyranny of this Jingshen sect. Of course, if for a behemoth like the whale of all things, it is not that easy. Yang Hao is just trying his luck by knocking out the Jingshen gate first. In addition, he has already jumped towards the whale of all whales. Hiss. At this moment, the whale of all things captured by Jingshen sect let out a strange cry, and the whole world seemed to begin to shake. Not good. The next moment, Yang Hao's heart moved. The divine light washed out by the Jingshen sect did not absorb the divine light of the Jingshen sect at all. Instead, the wise whales directly blocked the divine light of the Jingshen sect completely. The wise whales had already noticed that Yang Hao, it did not lazily walk across the sky again, but dived directly and suddenly fell onto the South China Sea. Rumble. The whales of all things swooped directly into the South China Sea. This is a scene that stunned Yang Hao appeared. In his eyes, with the moment when the whale of all things fell. On the originally empty and vast South China Sea, there were huge waves, but there were no waves. But the moment the whale fell into the water, a sea surface appeared out of thin air. These lands turned into lush vegetation, and endless greenery emerged in an instant. The earth shook. Full of life. The power of the world is everywhere. Is this the origin of all whales? The giant whale fell, and all things came into being. This legendary creature just fell from the clouds above the 9 heavens to the sea, and it washed away the power of the endless world, creating a land of vitality on the entire sea surface, with all living things on it. Give birth. It's so amazing. If I can collect it and put it into my ancient killing array. Yang Hao just thought of the scene here, and his eyes flickered with endless energy. Knowing the information from the jade slips and seeing it with your own eyes are completely different things. He came into this world with a noble status and rose up all the way. What rare treasures have he not seen? Even the most rare G-Dao Emperor weapon in the world, he can now access several pieces at any time. But now, Yang Hao has a strong desire in his heart. He wants to get this whale of all things. Chase. Yang Hao almost did not hesitate and headed towards the water of the South China Sea. As he jumped into the deep sea, the entire ocean appeared in his eyes. There. Yang Hao had just jumped into the deep sea, and almost instantly sensed the breath of all whales, and chased after him again. Master, I'm afraid something is wrong. At this time, Yunyan's worried voice came. After entering the seabed, the whale of all things seems to be getting smaller and smaller. I feel, it seems to be entering another world, rather than escaping in the sea. When Yang Hao heard Yunyan's onlooker's words, his face darkened. It was true. He could also sense that the whale of all things seemed to be disappearing from the bottom of the sea. Most of its huge body had disappeared. But where could he go? Yang Hao chased wildly on the bottom of the sea, but when he was about to catch up with the whale of all kinds, his heart was shocked. I see. He understood instantly. Looking at the all things whale being chased by him, Yang Hao suddenly came back to his senses. Avenue World. Its power to shake the world has actually entered the world of Dao. It is mentioned in the information of the Eternal Emperor that this legendary creature is extremely friendly to the Dao. I see. When Yang Hao was about to catch up with the whale, he sensed a familiar aura. That breath was exactly the same aura he sensed when he entered the five elements Dao world. Wan whale could actually enter the Dao world. Trouble now. Unless there is a door, there is no way to continue entering. And even if there is a Dao sect, I don't know how many Dao worlds this whale of all things can enter. Yang Hao's heart sank. When he caught up with Wan whale and took action again, Wan whale's huge body had completely entered the world of Dao. According to Yang Hao's estimation, Wan whale was most likely not only able to enter the water Dao world, can also enter other Dao worlds. If this is the case, even if he finds the water Dao gate, he may not be able to capture all whales. Disappeared. Yang Hao looked at the empty seabed, with only a few sea beasts swimming around at times, and couldn't help but look regretful. He knew that it would be extremely difficult to capture this whale of all kinds. Let's study this whale of all things carefully first, and then let Wenwan keep an eye on Lin Fan. Yang Hao made a decision. The message that the Eternal Emperor left to me only mentioned the name of the whale, but the record of the whale was actually unclear. After all, from the beginning, no one expected that there would be a whale. Yang Hao is also at the moment. We can only do some research and understand the characteristics of the whale before making plans. In addition, since Lin Feng came with Wenwan to capture the whale, there must be a way. Lin Feng is the protagonist, and Yang Hao immediately gave the order. Give him a gentle reply with more information. Next, let's go to Tiantong Holy Land to see it. Yang Hao thought for a while. It would be a bit troublesome to go back to the Holy Land of Eternal Life to check the information about the whale of all things. It happens that there is a large Holy Land in the South China Sea, which is known as the Tiantong Holy Land and knows everything about the world. This Tiantong Holy Land is the Holy Land that was listed on the Tianjiao list back then. According to Yang Hao's understanding, Tiantong Holy Land claims that money can buy all information. Of course, the so-called money that can buy everything does not refer to real currency. For Tiantong Holy Land, accept everything. As long as the value is in place, you can get any information you want. This is in line with Yang Hao's current requirements. He just thought about it for a moment, then made a decision and headed towards the Tiantong Holy Land. With Yang Hao's feet, it's not too slow to travel through the South China Sea. Not long after, Yang Hao's figure appeared in a blue sea, and below was the Tiantong Holy Land. I've met Holy Lord Yang. Holy Master Yang as well. The arrival of the Eternal Holy Lord in person is really too much to welcome from afar. As soon as he arrived at the sky above Tiantong Holy Land, Yang Hao, who did not hide his figure, was instantly greeted by figures one after another. With Yang Hao's current strength and status, even in the Tiantong Holy Land, he is extremely humble and respectful. Among the crowds of people who came to greet them, the Holy Lord of Tiantong Holy Land suddenly appeared. "You're welcome. I'm here, but I want to know some news." "At what cost?" Yang Hao asked straight to the point. The Holy Lord of Tiantong Holy Land did not find it strange when he heard this. Most of the people in this world who come to find their Tiantong Holy Land are seeking information. "I only saw Tiantong Holy Land." The Holy Lord chuckled lightly and said to Yang Hao, "The Holy Lord of the Eternal Holy Land comes in person, why does it cost? Whatever you want to know, we'll give it to you." Please download the novel without underlining. I Took Away the Villain's Son. Author, the Great Onmyoji. Chapter 262. No need to pay the price. When Yang Hao heard this, he was not happy, but narrowed his eyes. There will be no pie in the sky, and there is no free lunch in this world. He would not be surprised if the other party asked him for various divine objects. But now the other party he didn't ask for anything, but it made Yang Hao a little wary. "Whatever you want, just say it." Yang Hao was in a hurry to find all things whales and didn't bother to go around in circles. He simply went straight to the point. "Don't get me wrong, what Tiantong Holy Land wants is just your kindness, Holy Master Yang." This Holy Lord Tiantong was extremely tactful, as if he could see Yang Hao's thoughts at a glance, and he immediately said, "My kindness? That depends on the news about your Tiantong Holy Land." Yang Hao smiled when he heard this. He was indeed a holy land by selling information. The other party was extremely smart and chose to invest in him. "That's natural." Holy Lord Tiantong said immediately. "That being the case, I want." Just when Yang Hao was about to speak, he suddenly saw Holy Master Tiantong waving his hands and saying, "There is no need to say more to me. What Holy Master Yang said must be a great secret, just follow me." The exquisite 7 orifices of Holy Lord Tiantong surprised Yang Hao. In fact, he had no intention of covering up the whale. He and the Jingshen sect did not catch the whale. Even if others knew about the whale, how about it? But now that Holy Master Tiantong said this, Yang Hao was a little curious. He also wanted to know how Holy Master Tiantong got him the information he wanted without knowing anything. Ahead is the place where the Book of Secrets of the Heavenly Secrets of the Ultimate Emperor of the Holy Land of Heaven is located. Holy Lord Yang, go ahead on your own. If you want to know anything, just check it out yourself. As long as the mind moves, you can know. It's just that the Book of Secrets is very miraculous. Holy Master Yang is not from Tiantong Holy Land. He can only know one piece of information at most. Once the knowledge is completed, the Book of Secrets will disappear on its own. Hearing the reminder from Holy Master Tiantong, Yang Hao understood. So that's it? There are such miraculous Ji-Dao Emperor soldiers in this holy land of Tiantong. There is no doubt that the Book of Secrets in the mouth of Holy Master Tiantong must be a special imperial weapon. No wonder Tiantong Holy Land can know so much information. It turns out that this special imperial weapon exists. Yang Hao sighed. At this moment, he finally saw some of the details of Tiantong Holy Land. Then Yang Hao walked directly to the front without any politeness. The clouds and mist covered him and he passed through them. Soon, Yang Hao appeared in front of him, a shadow of books. Secret book. Yang Hao walked towards the scroll that exuded divine light, and then followed the method that Holy Lord Tiantong just told him, silently meditating on the information of all whales. Then, the Book of Heavenly Mysteries began to wash out a series of mysterious fluctuations, and these fluctuations were all it all fell on him. The atmosphere of the avenue. seems to be drawn from me. This imperial weapon is very magical, a bit like being omniscient and omnipotent with just one thought. All it consumes are my thoughts. Yang Hao sensed that the Book of Secrets was connected to him. This connection was very fragile and could be broken at any time as long as he wanted. But Yang Hao naturally would not stop, and messages appeared from the Book of Secrets one after another. I see. This Book of Secrets is indeed magical, and the information given is very detailed. Yang Hao carefully looked at the writings on the Book of Secrets and found that they were all about the whales of all kinds. In just a short moment, he had an incomparable detailed understanding of all the whales. All things whale, legendary creature, extremely rare. Born in the world of Dao. But even the creatures born in the Dao world cannot stay in the Dao world for many years. Once the whale of all things is born, it will enter the big star and spend its infancy. This legendary creature has a very good personality. It doesn't like and is not good at fighting. However, all whales are blessed with. He is born into the holy realm. Once he passes through his infancy and enters the quasi-emperor, he will head towards the starry sky. The adult whale of all things is the emperor's creature, extremely powerful. In the starry sky of the universe, many big stars are created by adult whales. Looking at the contents of the Tianji book, Yang Hao was slightly shocked. He did not expect that the origin of the whale of all things was so great. It was just a creature born from the world of Dao. It had the cultivation of the holy realm when it was just born. It was really a unique creature. What's more, he didn't expect that the cultivation level of the adult whale could actually reach the realm of the great emperor, and he could create a big star at any time. Pity. How can it be so easy for living beings to grow in this world? Given the characteristics of whales, how difficult is it to grow from infancy to adulthood? Coupled with the gentle and kind character of whale. According to the Book of Secrets, within the 10,000 stars in the sky this week, there will never be more than 3 adult whales. This is a record from ancient times to the present. Yang Hao sighed, but he firmly wrote down the characteristics of all whales in the Tianji book. As a legendary creature, the whale of all things possesses endless mysteries, so it has countless natural enemies. Single teacher practitioner. Before the birth of the method of world evolution, the whale of all things was chased by many powerful people because of its ability to travel around the world and bloom its aura at any time. After the birth of the method of world evolution, the emergence of whales makes people even crazier. Naturally, there are all kinds of natural enemies to target them, which is one of the main reasons why it is extremely difficult for whales to grow up. In order to defend against natural enemies, all whales have 3 characteristics to avoid being hunted. The first type is what I encountered before. After cleansing the power of the world, it can open the connection with the Dao world and enter the Dao world to escape in a short time. If you want to prevent the whale of all things from entering the Dao world, you must prevent him from using whale fall to cleanse the world of power. Yang Hao suddenly understood that if he could intercept the whales of all things at that time, he would be unable to enter the world of Dao. The second type is whale transformation. Once the whale of all things cannot enter the Dao world, it will use the transformation whale. After the whale transformation is cast, all whales will decompose into billions of whales in an instant and flee in all directions. As long as any one of the transformed whales escapes, then the whale of all things will be able to unite all the transformed whales into one body again after it is safe. Other practitioners would probably find this characteristic very difficult, but Yang Hao would not. Jingshenmen, this ultimate imperial weapon, can easily restrain such a situation. Once the whale uses transformation whale, Yang Hao only needs to sacrifice Jingshen section. No matter how the billions of whales escape, they will all be collected by Jingshen sect. The third type is to seek good fortune and avoid misfortune. This is the instinctive talent of all whales. As the darling of the avenue, once faced with a crisis, there will be all kinds of luck to help all whales. To put it simply, it is like the fate of the protagonist. This kind of thing is already familiar to me. Very good. Now that I know all about whales, the next encounter will be much easier. Yang Hao didn't know much about the whale before, so he allowed Wan whale to escape easily. But now he has understood the characteristics of Wan whale. With his strength and background, once targeted, he is confident to capture even Wan whale while Yang Hao was searching for information about whales in Tiantong Holy Land. The entire South China Sea was abuzz with people. I heard that a divine object was born in the South China Sea, and even the emperor from the Holy Land of eternal life has come. It turned out to be him. I don't know what kind of divine creature he is. Maybe that's not the case. I saw with my own eyes that Emperor Zun was heading towards Tiantong Holy Land. Maybe he was going to Tiantong Holy Land to inquire about some information. One voice after another spreads from the mouths of various practitioners. When Yang Hao arrived in the South China Sea, he did not deliberately hide his figure. Before going to Tiantong Holy Land, many people had seen him along the way. What's more, when Yang Hao was in Tiantong Holy Land, Holy Lord Tiantong came out to greet him in person, which was considered a huge fanfare. Yang Hao showed his invincibility in the Daozing and invited the stars in the sky to fight, but it has not ended long ago. Now he is the shining sun to many practitioners of Zaiwei Star. Wherever he goes, he shines brightly and attracts attention. Now, an island in the South China Sea. This is a market where practitioners exchange what they have. Two figures walk side by side, walking among many practitioners. Holy Lord Yang. Emperor Zun. A magical object appeared in the South China Sea. From time to time, voices of discussion came to my ears. Yang Hao, are you coming to the South China Sea? One of the male figures stopped suddenly, with a gloomy expression. This figure had deliberately changed his disguise, but there was no doubt that it was Lin Feng. He had never expected that Yang Hao would come to Nanhai. Maybe it just happened to happen when Wan looked at Lin Feng and said understanding. Impossible. There's something wrong with this. Lin Feng's expression changed, and he felt extremely uneasy. Let me deduce it. After Lin Feng explained to Wen Wan, he disappeared. After a while, Lin Feng walked out with a livid face. He's here, to do with me. I ask myself that I have never exposed any whereabouts. Then the purpose of Yang Hao's coming here, can only be the whale of all things. He paid a lot of money to be omniscient and omnipotent in one thought and forcefully deduce it. Although he couldn't deduce too much, based on himself, he could still get a glimpse of some information. What happened? When Wen Wan saw Lin Feng like this, her heart moved and she asked Lin Feng. I have a plan. Lin Feng said solemnly, with a cold light flashing in his eyes. Fei. Lu reminds you, 3 things about reading.